situation, and the situation is my studio sucks.
Okay.
My table sucks. I have this card table. Take a look at this. This is a card table on blocks. I got my monitor on a paint can. And yes, I know, I should have handled this a long time ago, but I need your help to do an upgrade.
Why don't you send me some measurements? We'll take care of it.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. Thanks, Dr. Berg. Bye. I don't know who is more excited, Dr. Berg or me. This is going to be a great build. All right. I think that'll be good. So once I get the slabs all marked out, stand them up on the mill, this is the workhorse of our business right here, the TimberKing 2000. This basically cuts everything for us, all of our lumber. It'll actually cut our bigger slabs into the sizes that we want. This can be done with a simple skill saw, but these slabs are probably 2 3/4 inches thick, so you can't get all the way with most skill saws all the way through it. So it's just easier for us just to stand it up on the mill, cut them roughly to the widths we want, and then I can take it from there. But without the TimberKing sawmill, we'd have to buy a lot of wood, and it just makes everything so much easier for us, that's for sure. It's very important to get your slabs flat. I don't care how perfect you try to cut these things and dry these things, you're gonna have imperfections, they're gonna warp, they're gonna twist. So thankfully, we have a Wood Whiz. They are no sponsor of ours, but it's a machine I've had for about 3 years. I did used to have a router sled that I built, but it was so time consuming. And the way we do things now, we gotta get things moved through the shop fairly quickly. And with this Wood Whiz right here, I can make it happen really fast. We can usually do a slab in about an hour. Fortunately enough, in this case, I was actually able to just do one side of these because up in the main shop, we got a 25-inch Woodmaster planer. And this thing puts an amazing finish on everything we plane. So whenever we have our slabs that are under 25 inches, we only Wood Whiz one side. We bring them into the shop and we feed them through our Woodmaster planer. In the Woodmaster's defense, I don't have quite the right dust collection for this thing. It doesn't hurt anything as far as we're concerned, and it just makes everything so much faster to put these things through the Woodmaster and make everything perfectly flat so I'm ready to build a perfect table. So I'm bringing the slabs back up here to my shop and start getting them ready to roll. Now it looks like a long ways away, but actually my old shop is on the same property as my new shop. I do have to drive down the road about a half a mile, but we own all the property from our house all the way down over the mountain down to the new shop. And this is where I'm bringing everything back to where it all started, in this building right here. This is where I actually do all my own personal work for my clients, and it's also where I'm doing my YouTube videos. I like all the burl. I want to try to keep most of that, but you can see how this thing's just going to come to life with all the ripple, the bird's eye. These slabs have it all. I'm so excited. Obviously, we love imperfect wood. 20 years ago, 25 years ago, these slabs would have been just put in a wood chipper or made for pallets. But the new thing now is the live edge, all the crazy character, and everybody's doing it. All the epoxy and stuff. We've been doing this now since 2004. It's just imperfect wood. Like this little guy here is going to come out. I'm just getting everything kind of cleaned out here so we can pour the epoxy in. You want to have all that loose bark taken off the slabs. If you don't, you're going to have air bubbles, and the epoxy is actually going to pull that bark away from the slab. This build's a piece of shit.
I like that. When we pour this epoxy, we're gonna start with dark blue into sort of a light aqua to a clear. And I'm gonna do the clear, I think, on that side because there's so much character down there in the wood. He asked for 4 feet. I just don't wanna lose all this character. I'm gonna go a little bit longer. I'm gonna split the difference and I'm gonna go right there. We can cut this thing to length and get ready to form it up.
Every business has its ups and downs. Every business just can take a lot out of you. But I have finally got this business to the point where I can start really enjoying woodworking now. I can get back to the point where I used to be years ago, where I'd come in my shop and just build crazy stuff, fun stuff, unique stuff, and enjoy it. And getting the business built to this point, it's had its ups and downs, but I'm finally able to start showing people what I used to do, what I do now, and I love woodworking. I've always loved it. It's just a passion of mine. It makes me happy when I do it. All the wood is different. Everything we build is different, and I really enjoy it. It's just something that anyone can do, whether it's building a big epoxy table or doing something crazy or as simple as building just a little birdhouse. This table is actually going to be seen by millions and millions of people. So I really got to put everything I got into this thing. Even though we put 110% into everything we build, this is going to be in Dr. Berg's studio. He gave me the sizes, he gave me sort of the colors of the epoxy he wanted, and he told me to just build him something amazing. So lucky me, I had some really cool maple slabs, and this is an exciting build. These are the ones that we kind of live for. These are the things I strive for. This is going to be so much fun.
Let's see if we get a leak.
So it's very satisfying pouring epoxy. As long as everything's sealed up right and you're not going to lose it all over the floor, you got to make sure that this epoxy is poured properly with your 2 parts and mixed properly, or you will have a mess. We've had it before where the epoxy wasn't mixed perfectly the way it says on the bottle, and it just wouldn't harden up, or it hardens too hard and it starts to crack. So mixing this epoxy, you got to be right on the money with the volume of each and just do a really good job mixing. And wouldn't you know it, I had a leak. Now this wasn't bad. I was able just to add a few extra screws, a little bit of caulking, and I got that leak stopped. But boy, I tell you, I've had some where I've walked in the shop the next morning and the epoxy is all over the floor, and it's very discouraging when you just spend $300 or $400 on the epoxy, and you come in the next morning and it's all over your floor. But over the years I've learned how to do it and not have so many leaks so that we're not wasting the epoxy all over the concrete floor, but it is what it is. This is dangerous. This is something I probably would have never tried to do years ago, is taking the pigment and actually mixing it in the slab. You really got to mix it good because that pigment will clump up on you, and if you're not careful, you'll see those little clumps in there after it's dry. So I could have poured this from both ends. Several different ways I could have done this pour, but I just figured if I just filled it up, did the epoxy pour, put the pigment in, mix it real well, it would work. And it did work. I just had to be really careful that I didn't have any clumps in that epoxy and get it all just right. So worked out and we moved on. I like the way it starts off solid. It's getting a little bit lighter through here and then fading right into the clear. So mission completed. Now it's time to get onto the legs. I really wanted to use the walnut legs because in the table there's a lot of contrast of the darker colors, the blacks and the browns. So I thought the walnut would look nice, and just getting the legs all cut to size and getting all the notches done in them. Radial arm saws, one of the best tools in my shop. I know a lot of people that can't stand them, but I do a lot of this kind of work with the radial arm saw, and I love that saw. I've had that saw for years. getting the legs together, making sure everything's square and set up, and it was back to sanding. Probably a couple hours worth of sanding, but again, I don't mind the sanding. Getting the foot cut out, getting it all sanded, taking the epoxy form off the bottom, and luckily enough, I didn't have epoxy everywhere. Sometimes I make quite a mess doing that, but got to cut the size, and then it was off to the metal shop. Getting the stretcher made, Michael was just getting that done for me and got it all welded up so that we could put the metal stretcher on. Brought it back down to the other shop to woodwiz the top just to get all the epoxy off. Put it through our 50-inch Woodmaster sander, which makes everything a breeze with these big tops. It makes everything nice and even. And then it was back to more sanding. There's a couple things in the shop I actually really enjoy doing. I like pouring epoxy. And I actually like sanding, and that sounds crazy, but something about sanding, I'm able to kind of just think about the day or think about what's coming up tomorrow. Because there's one thing about woodworking is it's about 10% woodworking and 90% sanding. And years ago, I used to try to rush the jobs a little bit, and I'd try to, if I was to build a table or anything or a hutch or piece of furniture, I was always trying to get it done in one day. I was trying to start in the morning and get done that night because I was just always so anxious to see what it was going to look like when I was done. And I learned from that. I learned a lot of mistakes, a lot of things that I did wrong. And as you get older, you get more patient and you give things time so that they come out right. Just getting the stretcher put in there, getting everything squared up. To make everything right and to make the finishes look right, you don't want to have any scratches in the wood. So there's a lot of time prepping for the finish. And if it takes you an extra couple hours after you've put all this time into building something, take it and do the sanding right, and just make sure you're doing a good job on the sanding. I like to put my leg or my bases together on something perfectly flat. In most cases, it's my workbench because it is perfectly flat. That way I don't have any twists or anything when I put it on the floor, and it's not wobbly. And I have built stuff on the floor before because it was too big, and my concrete floor is not perfect, and I always end up with a little bit of a wobbly table, so I've learned to start doing it on something good and square and flat. And we're getting ready to head down to the other shop to put it in the spray booth and start putting a finish on this thing. We're in Virginia, but we're in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia. The elevation right here at our house is at 2,800 feet. So yeah, we do still get snow. I thought when I left Vermont, I was getting away from all that, but I feel like we get just as much snow here in Floyd, Virginia that I did up in West Berg, Vermont. Prepping the slab here, getting ready for the finish. Again, we're just putting a satin lacquer on this one. It's a real durable finish that we put on our tops. And I've been doing this lacquer for years. I'm good at it. And everything always comes out great. And this way here, if people spill water or anything on it, there's never a problem. Now it's time to get this thing loaded and head south.
All right, we're loading Dr. Berg's tables in the trailer, and let's go and get this thing delivered. A friend of mine, Dr. Berg, who's well known with his YouTube channel on health and keto diet, needed a table for his studio. He's going to be surprised with this table. He has no idea what he's getting. The size he wanted, he just couldn't find that table without having it actually custom made for him. This is the kind of stuff we do. It's custom stuff that you're not going to find anywhere else. The IKEA furniture and Walmart furniture and just a lot of the furniture you get at the big box furniture stores, it's just not quality, and people are actually coming back to wanting quality, something people can pass down to their family, and that's what we build. We build heirlooms. It's a pretty cool gig. We're here. Morning.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Thanks for doing this.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. So you built it.
Yeah, and I didn't even send you a photo of anything I was doing, so I hope it's gonna work for you. Once I saw what you had, I figured anything can be better.
Okay.
Yeah, I was glad I was able to get right on this for you. We had a lot of other jobs going through the shop, but I worked on this one. this is my doing, so.
Oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me. This is amazing.
Isn't that cool?
Cool.
Yeah.
This is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So it's probably a little better than what you've been working.
a little better?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to use this.
Yeah. So that's cool.
Oh my gosh.
I actually did a little walnut, because walnut legs, it matches a lot of the different colors in the maple.
Oh my gosh.
And I did a little industrial and added a metal stretcher, so.
Oh my gosh, Bill.
Kinda cool.
This is artwork. Yeah. This is a masterpiece. Look at this. It's like a little river.
Yeah, it's cool, and it kind of fades out to clear.
Oh my gosh.
So it'll be cool.
Cool.
I'm excited.
I'm excited. I can't wait. This is, oh my gosh. I'm blown away.
Good deal.
Thank you.
You bet. Wow.
Yeah, let's bring this in. This is almost too good to be used as a table, Bill.
Eh.
This is a piece of art.
Wow. This is it, huh?
Oh my gosh, how embarrassing.
Oh my gosh.
This is gonna be incredible. Incredible.
And this is where you're doing all your videos and
This
stuff
is where I do
from.
my videos.
Have you thought about maybe moving that and doing wood walls?
Well, I have my wood back here.
I see that. But what, I mean, you've got the perfect space here. Why don't we do the log that we got off your property that we milled, the cherry log? Why don't we use those boards and do these walls? And that table would fit in here with that wood behind it would be beautiful. What do you think?
Hey, let's do it.
All right, so there you have it. So now we got another job on our hands, and that's redoing Dr. Berg's studio. We're going to give him a beautiful studio with some of our furniture in it, and he'll be able to do all his recordings from there. You'll also be seeing the table where he does his whiteboard. That's going to be pretty awesome as well. So this was exciting. Now I'm even more excited to redo the studio after building his table. So stay tuned, subscribe, and if you want to know where our reclaimed wood comes from and all of our salvage lumber, check out this video.